We're in a new year. Woo, fancy new year. And I know that the world is talking about goals and new chapters and a turning of the page and being this new embodied version of you. And in the academy, we are learning about being your limitless self, being your light self, stepping into that in every possible moment of every day. So, for members of the academy, for the students that I've been working with for the last couple of years, we really are focused on reinventing ourselves in every moment and being the version of us that we want to be now. Knowing that we are that version, not just like trying to be that version, but being that version, living from that state of being. And so when we are in this like position of the beginning of January and we're looking at our goals and we're looking at the things that we want to do, and maybe you took our time mastery course and you've learned how to put things into your day planner and how to balance your week and how to map out your entire week in a way that is super productive, and making sure that you get your quality time with your family and your time for yourself and your morning routines, and you've built it all out and you've done the work and you've laid it all out. But then it comes down to execution, like the actual doing of the things that you said you were going to do. And what I want to talk about today is the three main reasons why you are not doing the things you said you want to do, the things you know that you need to do in order to be the version of you that is creating the life that you want to live, your limitless life. And so there are three main reasons why. The first is a simple one and probably the easiest one to work on, and that one is mental discipline. You might not have at this moment the mental discipline to make yourself do the things that you don't want to do. That's the easiest one to deal with, and we're going to talk about these, and we're going to lay it all out on how to fix it, how to work through it, how to become a doing machine when it comes to checking off the things on your list and making sure that you're getting shit done that you know you need to get done in order to create the life that you want to create in 2025. Okay, so the first is mental discipline, and then the next two are a little bit more inside. They require a little bit more reflection, a little bit more introspection. And the first one is a disconnect with the outcome. You have a disconnect with what you think this habit, this goal, the path you're taking, a disconnect with where it's going to lead you. Like maybe it's a fear of change or a fear of success or a fear of failure. You have a disconnect with the outcome that these steps are going to lead you to. So that's number two. And number three is that you have a disconnect with the way that you're going to get to the outcome, which means maybe you don't fully believe it's going to work. Maybe you don't really think that this thing is going to serve you. Maybe you just don't freaking like doing it. Maybe it's not, you don't really believe it's the best way to go. Or maybe you have tried this before and it didn't work out. So in your mind, you have a disconnect with whether or not you believe the way to the outcome is going to work. So number one is you don't have the mental discipline to actually get up and go, to get up and do the things. I'm going to break that down for you. Number two is you have a disconnect with the outcome. Like maybe you don't fully believe that the outcome is what you really want. Or maybe you don't fully trust that you can keep it once you get it. Or maybe you don't think you're good enough to get it. Or maybe you don't think you're good enough to have it and keep it. Or maybe you're afraid of what happens in your life when you are successful. Like what's going to fall away and what changes are you going to have to make and what are you afraid of when you get there? Or maybe you're afraid that you're not going to make it, the failure of getting it and letting it fall apart. Okay, so there's a disconnect with you and the outcome. That's number two. And number three, there's a disconnect with the way you've made the plan to get to the outcome. So maybe you don't fully agree with that type of marketing in your business, or Maybe you just really hate getting on calls. Or maybe you don't like that kind of workout routine. Maybe you don't really like eating that way. Maybe you don't really, maybe you don't agree with it. Maybe you don't think that the way is in service of you, or maybe you just don't really believe that way is going to get you there, or that it's too much work, or that it's just not for you. Okay? So in the first one with mental discipline, if it is indeed mental discipline that you're struggling with, like if you truly believe that the way to get there is the way to get there, and you enjoy it, and you think it's going to be fun, and you think it's exciting and exhilarating, and that you can do it, and all of those things, if you've broken through all those barriers, and you also believe and you know that the outcome is everything that you want, and you've broken away all of the limiting beliefs surrounding the outcome that make you afraid of the outcome, or afraid of getting there, or afraid of what happens when you get there, right? If you've gone through all that and you're just really struggling with the get up and go, the mental discipline to do the things you said you were going to do just because you said you were going to do them, then mental discipline is the easiest thing for you to work on. It's the simplest thing for you to work on. It's not easy. I take that back. It's supposed to be hard for your mind. It's supposed to be things that you don't like. It's supposed to be things that are hard to do, or that your mind is going to argue with you on, and making yourself do them anyways. And so if you've been here for a while, if you've worked with me for any amount of time, in 2020, I did 6 months of daily ice cold frickin' showers, and I started in December in Canada. So let me tell you how awful that was to my mind. I hate being cold. I dislike cold water. I am like a dip my toe in the ocean, nope, too cold, not going in kind of person. I'm a land baby. I do not love cold water. I don't jump in an icy cold lake to feel refreshed. That's not refreshing to me. I do not like cold showers. But for every single day, I said, I am going to beat my freaking mind. And every single day I got in the shower, and at the end of my shower, I turned it icy cold for as long as I could handle it, for a minimum of 30 seconds. And every week I bumped that up. And it went from 30 seconds to 32 seconds to 35 seconds to 38 seconds. And I got all the way up to a minute and a half of just standing in the cold shower. And not only did I just stand there, I would turn around and make sure every part of my body got icy cold blasted, with the top of my head, which is the worst, by the way. It's so sensory, and like I just made myself be in it because I hated it, and because I said I would. Do you see the connect there for building mental discipline? Because your mind is constantly like talking shit the whole time you're in there. You don't really need to stay in the cold shower. Nobody cares how long you're in here. This sucks. This sucks. Turn it off. Get out. You don't have to do this. Your comfort zone is literally right there. You can turn it in a second back to warm and be back in your comfort zone. But your job in the cold shower is to grin and bear it and beat your mind and listen, like turn up the volume of the noise in your mind and ignore it. Ignore it. Beat your mind. Cold showers is number one. The next thing I did was I ran long distances because I hated it. I hated running. I hated it. I hated running long distance. I hated the way my lungs felt. I was a smoker for 15 years. I was a chronic vapor at this time. I don't do any of that anymore, but I was. All of these things, and I hated running. Cardio was not my friend, and I had made a whole lot of money teaching people how to lift weights and how to eat more food and how to build muscle as a coach in the fitness industry that said, you don't have to do cardio if you don't want to. And I did it for like 10 years. And then I decided, you know what? I want to beat my mind. So I'm going to do the thing that makes my mind bitch and moan the loudest that nobody else cares about. Nobody cares if I run 10K today. Nobody cares if I do it even though it's raining. Nobody cares. Nobody cares except for me and me honoring my commitment to myself. So when it comes to mental discipline, I want you to think, what are the things, And those are just two very simple things that you can do. But think about the things. What are the things that are hard for me to do? And how can I go make myself do them for an extended period of time and beat my mind? That is how you develop mental discipline. And then once you're doing that, it becomes easy. Whenever your mind says, I don't wanna, it holds no power over you because you have exercised that muscle, that resistance muscle, the resilience muscle in your mind against your mind and the programs that it has about running the show for you, deciding what you do and what it wants to do instead of what you need to do, right? So you get to take your power back from your mind by developing a mental discipline practice. And I mean commit to it for an extended period of time. An extended period of time. Another thing that you can do is like a breathwork practice, a meditation practice where you are focusing on something specific. Like box breathing is a really simple one. So in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, in for 4, right? And doing that and consistently drawing your attention back to your breath, always bringing your attention back to your breath. Your mind's going to wander. It's going to say, how long has it been? What else do I need to think about today? It's going to come up with all of these things, and you just draw your attention back. No, for this period of time, I am focused on this one thing. I will not do those things. I will not skip to all these other thoughts. No, for this period of time, I'm focused on this one thing. And from there, you're able to, again, exercise your presence muscle, your ability to beat your mind, your ability to ignore the interruptions that it is so used to making. Another thing you can do is a power pivot. You can, and a power pivot this is coined by Andy Frisella. I have used it for many years. Power pivot is where the thought comes into your mind, like, oh, I should really go do the dishes right now because it's on my list of things to do. And like in that instant, you are on your feet. The second the thought enters your mind, you're on your feet going to do the dishes. That is a power pivot. If you think, oh, I really should go for a walk right now, look, the sun is shining. In that instant, you get up, you put your socks on, you put your shoes on, you put your coat on, you grab your dog, you leash her up, and then you go outside for a walk. Power pivot means you get up and go. In the moment, the second, before your mind has a chance to say, yeah, but you could do this instead. Or, oh, but you should probably do this instead. Oh, you should do this instead. The second that thing comes up on your calendar, like a robot, you literally get up and you go do the thing. Mental discipline. Those are amazing ways that genuinely will work for you. They will work. They have to work. They do. Through experience, I only teach you guys stuff that I have experienced, that I have implemented, that I have done. Mental discipline. Now, when you go to that next level of you have a disconnect with the outcome. Okay, so let's say you have a fitness goal. Okay, you have a fitness goal and you want to be really fit and strong and lean in your 40s and 50s. So that when your grandbabies come, you are like super sweet, awesome, fit, healthy, glamorous, awesome, strong, powerful, successful person. And somewhere deep inside, you have this memory of a woman being all of those things I just described, or a man being all of those things I just described, and being rude, unkind, cold, disconnected, alone, single. Maybe there's some sort of story inside that it's like a yeah but story. It's like in the moment when you think about being there, if you could be that version of you right now, what's the yeah but that comes up? Yeah, but if I am that, what do you lose? What do you have to give up? What are you missing out on? Right? So could be that. It could be a fear of, so that's like a fear of success, right? Where it's not the fear of the success itself, it's the fear of what comes with the success, the loss, of who you are or who you were, or maybe your favorite parts of yourself. Maybe you have a disconnect on, can you be all those things that you love to be right now while also being those things? Maybe you have a thing about around food and celebrations, like how will I go to my grandkid's birthday party if I'm this super fit person? Maybe like maybe you have a disconnect around how you all have to live your life. Like maybe you really enjoy your weekends of going to the movies and eating the popcorn, and maybe you think that you'll have to give that up. Like, I mean, these are very simple examples, but think about, like, it's when we talk about fear of success, I don't believe that you're afraid of succeeding. I think you're afraid of what your mind is telling you comes with that success. What kind of loss, what kind of change, what kind of unknown. So go within and find your disconnect with the outcome, if that's the case, if that is ringing true for you right now. Or let's say you have an outcome of living on the beach somewhere, retired, but you're afraid to leave your families, like your children and their lives, and to not see them all the time. Maybe you're afraid to go and have to do it alone. Maybe you think that you have certain things that you have to get to first, like you have to be a certain amount of fit, or a certain amount of healthy, or a certain amount of of in a relationship, or maybe there's something that's missing in that capacity. Maybe you just don't fully feel like you're ready for that outcome to happen, for the success to happen yet. And so you're sabotaging or pushing off the doing in the now because you're tied to this idea of what the outcome might look like, and you're afraid of it, or you're afraid you won't want it. So you just don't even bother starting because of that. So very introspective, only you know the answer kind of work. But these are good questions and good things to look at within when you're trying to figure this out. And then number 3 is you don't fully believe that the way that you want to take is going to work for you. So maybe you don't fully believe that the workout that you've chosen, or the plan that you've chosen, is going to work for you. Or maybe you just really dislike that kind of exercise. Or maybe you're like, if I do this way, I really don't like doing it this way, so I'll do it this way for now, but I don't want to do it forever, so what's the point of even starting to do it now? Or maybe you don't fully believe in the business model. Or maybe like there's some sort of disconnect with the way that you think you need to go. Or maybe it's like if it's in business, for example, if you're trying to do a new way of marketing in your business, maybe you're not doing those things because you don't believe in that kind of marketing. Or maybe you don't believe, like it doesn't align with your values. Maybe it feels icky. Maybe there's an ick attached to it. Maybe there's a question of will this way work for me? Maybe you have a story of history in the past of trying things this way, or seeing people try things this way and have it not work. Or maybe it just doesn't work for you because you're so special that this thing that works for everyone else wouldn't work for you. It's like this again is another introspective thing. So ask yourself the questions for these two, number 2 and number 3 of disconnect. Do I really believe that this outcome is what I want? Do I really believe that this is the way to get there? Or a way to get there? The way for me to get there? Do I think that there's maybe a better way? What am I afraid of will happen? What am I afraid will happen if I do get there? Like, what is the negative to getting there? If there is any? Like, just get really clear, because none of it is real except for what you make real in your reality. So only you know why you're not doing the things. But here, these are just 3 very simple points that you can explore within yourself to see, if I'm not doing the things, then what does that mean? Why am I not doing the things? Because if all three of these things were checked off, you believe in the outcome, you know for sure that the outcome is what you want, and you're not afraid of what happens when you get there. If you believe in the way to get there and you think that it is for you, you're going to enjoy it, it's going to be fun, and there is no disservice or downside to it, and you have the mental discipline, you've learned how to get out of your head, you've learned how to beat your mind, you have the get up and go, you know how to power pivot, you've done it, you've exercised that muscle, there is nothing going to get in your way. Nothing. You are the absolute creator of your reality, and you can do anything that you want. You actually are right now doing what you want. You just have to identify what your competing belief systems are, because that's what's happening. Aside from the mental discipline portion, right? That's a habitualized thing. That's something that you actually have to fix by rehabitualizing your tendencies and your habits and your who holds the reins in your mind or your soul, but outside of that, this is how you are already doing exactly what you want. You just have to identify what your competing belief systems is. What you know that you want it. You know that this is the way. You know that this is a way, but there's some sort of competing belief system that's jumping in front of all of this goodness that's making you not take action. So once you identify what that competing belief system is and myth bust it or let it go or pivot this part to help this part be okay, that's when you're going to be able to find the freedom to move forward with nothing in your way ever again. And using this system to check when you find yourself stuck, when you find yourself not doing the things that you said you were going to do or that you say that you want to do, it's not because you don't want to. You do want to. You do want it. I hate when people say, well, you just don't want it bad enough. No, that's not true. There's just something competing inside of you that you need to find, locate, and eliminate. All right? I hope that was helpful, and I hope everybody has an amazing week, and I will talk to you guys soon.